Hello, internets. I am the Red Herring. Welcome back to Nerd Stitcher. Today I'm going to be doing a little review of Carnival Row Season 2, Episodes 1 through 7, which I recently watched. I'm also going to update you on my progress here on Rogue. Since last week, I've I made it up to it's hard to see on the screen. Yeah, I made it up to this corner here, and then after that, I hit the edge of the block, and the block goes all the way up to the top. And I didn't feel like counting that far, so I moved over to this side and started filling in these over here. Today, while I'm doing my review, I'm going to be working on the stuff that starts underneath the center line in the middle there. All right, so Carnival Row. If you did not see season one, I'll do a little brief recap. It introduces us to this world where there's these two human nations, the Pact and the Berg, and this is in a world where there are also Fey creatures. There's at least 4 or 5 species now they've introduced. The main ones are the Puck, which are like fawns, I guess. Kind of like, yeah, I don't know. They're like bull fawns. Instead of like deer, they're like bull or something. Maybe somebody in the comments can tell me if they read the books, what they're supposed to be. I assume these are based off books, by the way. I don't really know. Um, yeah, so there's the Puck, then there's the Pix or Pixies, which are pixies, but they're like human sized, which I think is pretty cool. I was actually thinking about maybe stealing that idea for a D&D game sometime if a player wanted to be a pixie or a fairy. Um, then there's I don't know the name of this race. They're like smaller and they've got these funny looking ears. Then there's centaurs for sure. Um, those are the main ones that we see in the Berg. And then they introduce a new species this season, which we hadn't seen before. Uh, they kind of hinted at it for the first several episodes, and I thought it was like supposed to be like a vampire or something, but they ended up having a special name for it and all that. Uh, Not that they're completely dissimilar to vampires, but they're not really bloodsuckers. Um, so season one, the Berg and the Pact had fought a war. The Berg lost all of their outer colonies to the Pact, which and their colonies are basically like conquered Fey lands. So one of the big ones is Tirnanak, which is the Fae's home city, or the Pix's. Sorry, not the Fae, the Pix's home city. And that's where a lot of flashbacks in the show take place, is the battles for Tirnanak. But season two introduce well, okay, end of season one. Finish my recap. They shove all the Fey creatures into Carnival Row to get them away from the human population. The Chancellor dies as part of the plot line, and his son takes over, and he decides that he would remove all the Fey creatures from the Berg into Carnival Row. So season two opens with a pretty cool start. It shows our main character, who's played by Orlando Bloom, getting into the ring with what he thought was going to be two of the funny ear-looking creatures. Oh, and then okay, another species. I forget. To me, he looks like an ogre, but I forget whether the show called it an ogre or a troll. This is like right away in episode one, so I don't think I'm spoiling anything. But that's a pretty cool fight sequence. Um, and then, meanwhile, his girlfriend, who's a Pix, he's also, um, well, you should watch the show. But his girlfriend's a Pix, and she's gotten involved with this group of pixie terrorists, basically, who are um, stealing medicine from a Burgess train. There's a plague going on among the pixies. Apparently, it's only affecting pixies. No other species can be infected at this point. They don't have Dr. Fauci performing gain of function research, apparently, so it's not crossing species barriers at this point. So, that's the gist of episode 1. As the season progresses, I'm going to try to just be brief. I don't want to give away too much. But as the season progresses, we get introduced to a new faction that is like a rebellion group within the pact. And so that kind of draws the pact back away from the Berg. And this new faction are communists. And at first, when they introduced them, I was like, oh no, because I thought this was going to end up being some kind of like communist propaganda show or something. But very quickly, they like the first time they introduced these guys, they're showing that like all the Fey creatures are able to like walk around freely in their city, because in this group, the Fey and the humans get along. So at first they're showing it like it's almost like idyllic, like the sun's shining and like the Fey people are all like playing. There's like a pixie couple that like the man flies down and kisses his girlfriend. It's like showing this like very nice representation of it. So I was like, oh my gosh, this could be terrible. But no, they very quickly disabuse us of the notion that this is some kind of like fantasy utopia. And yeah, it's they have to fight with the pact as the pact try to retake the city, and stuff happens that's pretty interesting. There is one character that shows her boob. If you're into that sort of thing, you do get a boob in this season so far. It might not be the kind of scene you're into. This particular character has a puck as her husband, so that's probably a little bit weird for some people. Fortunately, they don't like go overboard with him. It's not like he gets the Halo treatment. We see his whole body or anything. Yeah, it's a good scene actually. And then yeah, so then the where I left off, I'm looking forward to watching more episodes. I think they're doing a good job with it. There is a little bit of feminism in the show, but again, like they kind of nip that in the bud pretty quickly. And there's like another character that pops up. Well, she's not a new character, but she goes through a character arc where she suddenly turns kind of feminist and a bit of a twat, if you ask me. But I have a feeling she's not going to stay that way. I have a feeling they're going to work stuff out with her. But we'll see. If she ends up like staying that way and becoming like a main character or something, that would be annoying. But so far, it seems like I'm guessing that they're following a book, and And I don't know. I've never read the book, but it seems like they're being pretty faithful to it because it's good. It's a good show. I'm enjoying it. Orlando Bloom is really good. The girl that plays Vignette, I think her name's Vignette, his girlfriend, the pixie. She's pretty good. I like her, and her friend is really good. That actress is really good. And there's a whole story arc with her going on in this season that's very much relevant to the main story. And also the guy that plays Orlando Bloom's friend, he's a good actor. Oh yeah, that's another species. They're like werewolves, but they call them burrow or something. Maybe if I read the books, I'd have remembered all this stuff, but I can't remember what they call them. I don't watch with subtitles, so um, yeah, I'd recommend. So far, I'm hoping it ends well, and I really hope it doesn't get like Expanse or Game of Thrones ending, where it's kind of disappointing. Um, I was really enjoying the Expanse, but that kind of ended abruptly, and it's too bad Amazon didn't do better. Well, it's really too bad that the writers of the books kind of took that series off the rails, because that's really what's at fault with that show. Um, but yeah, so that's my thoughts on season 2 so far, and check in with you guys next week.